You walk into a bustling Mexican market, colorful fruits, the smell of grilled meat, vendors shouting their daily deals. It all feels vibrant, local, and free. But what if I told you that behind the fresh produce and low prices lies a hidden force quietly pulling the strings? This isn't just a story about corruption or cartels. It's about how underground groups have woven themselves into the very fabric of Mexico's everyday economy. Today, we dive deep into how some of the country's largest economic spaces, especially informal street markets and supply chains, are influenced by powerful networks that operate in the shadows. And trust me, it's not what you expect. Mexico has one of the largest informal economies in the world, accounting for over 50% of employment. This means millions work outside regulated tax systems. While it provides survival for many families, it also creates a space with little oversight. Perfect conditions for criminal networks to thrive. Informal markets aren't just street vendors and pop-up shops. We're talking about entire economic ecosystems, logistics, storage, wholesale trade, even labor unions, often without a paper trail. That makes them ripe for influence, especially when formal structures fail to protect them. Initially, organized groups focused on traditional illicit activities, trafficking, extortion, and smuggling. But over time, many diversified into legitimate-looking businesses. In several regions, they moved into agriculture, distribution, and even construction. Why? Because control of the supply chain means long-term influence and power. From avocados and limes to meat distribution and even pirated merchandise, these groups learned that economic control buys both loyalty and invisibility. If you control the trucks that deliver food, you're more powerful than someone with just weapons. In cities like Mexico City, Acapulco, and Guadalajara, vendors in large markets often pay daily or weekly fees for protection, sometimes referred to as derecho de piso. But this is more than just street-level extortion. In many places, it's structured with collectors, quotas, and punishments. It becomes a tax system parallel to the government. Some vendors report that if they don't pay, their goods are stolen, stalls are vandalized, or worse. But others claim paying ensures steady supply, security, and even support from local authorities. Because sometimes the lines between legal and illegal are blurry. Take avocados, the green gold of Mexico. Michoacán is the global epicenter of avocado production, and it's no secret that criminal groups have inserted themselves into the supply chain. From controlling packing plants to charging growers for protection, their influence adds a hidden cost to your guacamole. In some towns, armed groups decide who gets to harvest, when, and how much they sell. Even international buyers have raised concerns. It's not just about money, it's about dominance over a product that feeds millions. In massive markets like Tepito and Mexico City, pirated goods and black market products flow freely. These aren't just isolated street sellers. There's a supply chain, warehouses, delivery trucks, and yes, a form of regulation. While the government cracks down on piracy, underground forces often fill the vacuum. Need to sell counterfeit clothes or tech? You pay a license fee, not to the state, but to those who control the market. It's an economy within an economy. For regular Mexicans, this hidden control often means higher prices, unstable jobs, and reduced safety. But in some areas, these networks also provide services like loans, conflict mediation, or protection from petty crime. Services people don't always receive from the government. This duality creates a strange loyalty in some communities. It's not black and white, it's complex survival. People are caught between official neglect and underground order. There have been efforts to regain control, military interventions, economic reforms, and vendor protections. But these attempts are often short-lived or met with resistance. Why? Because removing the criminal influence without replacing the economic support they provide creates a vacuum. And in many areas, the government hasn't filled that space effectively. The result? A cycle that's hard to break. This isn't just a Mexico problem. Across Latin America, Africa, and parts of Asia, informal economies are being influenced by hidden networks. The lesson? Where governments fail to provide economic infrastructure, others will step in. Markets aren't just places of commerce. They are battlegrounds of influence. Understanding this can help us build better systems, not just stronger laws. We often enjoy the benefits of global trade, cheap goods, exotic foods, beautiful markets, without asking where they come from. But behind the color and life of Mexico's mega markets, there's an unspoken cost. Control without transparency, power without legitimacy. As travelers, consumers, and storytellers, we must learn to look deeper. Not to judge, but to understand. Because the real battle isn't just about crime, it's about the invisible forces that shape our everyday lives. The question isn't just who runs the market, it's what happens when those who run it aren't the ones we elected. Despite the shadows that loom over some sectors of Mexico's economy, this country is far more than the headlines. It is a land rich in culture, tradition, and breathtaking landscapes. From the beaches of Oaxaca to the pyramids of Teotihuacan. But what truly defines Mexico is its people. Resilient, warm-hearted, and full of life. Behind every challenge, there is a community building, creating and dreaming of a better future. So yes, it's important to talk about the hard truths, but never forget the beauty, the spirit, and the soul of Mexico that continue to shine through it all. In the end, what happens in Mexico is not an isolated story. It's a reflection of a global system where inequality, power, and corruption often go hand in hand. But within that complexity, there's always a choice: to focus on fear or to focus on hope. And Mexico, with all its contrasts, continues to remind us that even in the most difficult circumstances, beauty, kindness, and humanity persist. Perhaps the true richness of this country doesn't lie in its resources or markets, but in its unwavering heart. And hey, if this kind of story got you thinking, maybe that's a sign to stick around. I'll be sharing more eye-opening stories from around the world. Stories that challenge what we think is normal. New perspectives every week. Subscribe if you're curious.